and all that. I want to talk about something exciting. Talk about something that's actually very topical and sadly quite necessary. So we welcome into the studio right now Umar Arastia.
Yes, sir.
Umar, did I say it right?
You did.
Excellent.
You did. Great job.
Thank you. I'm very glad about that because it looks like this guy knows how to defend himself.
Yeah, I was going to say, you brought someone in here who could kick my butt. I don't get
that's
it.
Right. That's right. You are with. You have something that you offer called close quarters countermeasures.
That is my consulting firm, yes.
That's your consulting firm, but you're also active duty National Guard.
I am.
First of all, so thank you. Do you like when people, some veterans say, don't thank me for my service, just,
no, I'm not partial to one or the other.
All
I think if people are going to express their thanks in some way, I'm not going to tell them how to do it. Right. I appreciate it regardless.
All right, there you go. All right. Well, thank you for your service, and I mean that.
Don't say that, ever.
I've heard the same sentiment, by the way, from other service members. Basically, we appreciate the thanks.
Right. Umar has a free active shooter workshop that he's going to be offering Friday night, December 8th. It's going to be at the Gears Gym. Now, if you drive up Route 9 heading, west, you've driven by this a million times. I know I have. My youngest son lives out in that way, so I go by it all the time. It's a big place, and it's in Cherry Valley. It's right over the line. It's part of Leicester. And it's a free active shooter workshop, and sadly, it is something that we need, something that is quite topical. There's all sorts of different types of active shooter scenarios. Obviously, in Las Vegas, there's one where I don't suppose really anything would have mattered. You had a guy up in a hotel room shooting down on a crowd. It's mass survival at that point, right?
That's a mass attack scenario, and there's really not any one way to handle any of the situations. At that point, you're going into survival mode, and just thinking about the best ways to get out of it alive, and maybe, if possible, take the people you care about with you.
All right. Tell us a little bit about yourself and a little bit about close quarters countermeasures.
Well, I got my start with a lot of the training with the military. I've done security work the majority of my life, and about 2 years ago, I was approached by a security agency in Boston. I'm not going to name the name of it.
All right.
They brought me in to consult with some of their executive protection specialists. And from training in weapons retention and other things, it also kind of evolved into their active shooter program as well, training them how to respond if they have a client with them. So I've held that training with them about 6 times over the past 2 years, and a couple other places. And well, really what happened is after the amount of shootings that were taking place, and I'm doing this as a professional,
right? It
got to me. And I started asking myself, well, what the heck are you doing? Why aren't you doing something about it? I mean, I can't stop these things from happening. But it finally got to a point where I felt like I needed to do something, and the best way to do that was to train as many people as possible.
All right. Umar, I want to talk more about this. And coming up, what I'd like to talk about is some of the specific scenarios, some of the specific incidents that have happened. Your thoughts on those. I know it's easy to play Monday morning quarterback and say what could have been done. Yeah. But we talk a little bit about that. We're going to talk about more about this workshop, what people can expect, that type of thing.
Absolutely.
All right, this is the Worcester Magazine Radio Hour. More to come.
The moment my son saw a redwood tree.
It's huge!
Is the moment I knew that for him.
You can't even see the top of that thing.
Even the sky has no limit.
There are some moments only the forest can inspire. Find yours at discovertheforest.org. Learn about forests near you and discover cool things to do when you go. Your moment is out there. Find it at discovertheforest.org.
Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Unity Radio is streaming on unityradioMA.org. You can also listen on WUTY 102.9 FM. We would like to thank our listeners and supporters.
Worcester Regional Chamber of Commerce. Recruit, retain, incubate. For more information, visit worcesterchamber.org. David Moradian Jr., State Representative of the 9th Worcester District. davidmoradian.com. And the Worcester Bravehearts baseball team. To learn more, visit worcesterbravehearts.com.
Unity Radio, Worcester's Community Connection.
Dad, this is fun. I didn't think I'd like kayaking.
Well, I'm glad you enjoyed it, but I think it's time to head back in.
Okay. Can we come back?
Sure. Hey, be careful getting out of the boat.
It's a kayak, Dad.
I'm going to return the kayak.
Can we walk home?
How about a taxi?
It's a short fare from your neighborhood to your naturehood. Visit discovertheforest.org to find a neighborhood park or green space near you. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the U.S. Forest Service.
Dad, this is fun. I didn't think I liked kayaking.
Well, I'm glad you enjoyed it, but I think it's time to head back in.
Okay. Can we come back?
Sure. Hey, be careful getting out of the boat.
It's a kayak, Dad.
I'm going to return the kayak.
Can we walk home?
How about a taxi?
It's a short fare from your neighborhood to your naturehood. Visit discovertheforest.org to find a neighborhood park or green space near you. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the U.S. Forest Service.
This is the Worcester Magazine Radio Hour, and we're just having a big argument in studio about the price of Judas Priest tickets. So we should make that part of the audio discussion. Call in if you want to talk about Judas Priest or anything else. I'd like you to call in and talk about what we're talking about right now with Umar Arastia. And we're talking about the free active shooter workshop he has coming up Friday night, 7 to 9 p.m. at Jaguar's Gym in Cherry Valley on Main Street. And this discussion is happening right here at the Worcester Magazine Radio Hour, part of Unity Radio. And listen to us, stream us live at worcestermag.com. Call us at 508-471-5265. If you're driving around in the car, listen to us at 102.9 FM. Umar, getting right back into our discussion. Continue. You served active duty, actually. You served over in Afghanistan.
Yes. Yeah.
And so defense is kind of your thing. This is something that you've taken really personally, really.
Yeah, it's funny how that works out. You know, I was never a cop, but I've always been in some type of service, security type of industries.
Sure.
Since I was relatively young, in my early 20s. So it's all led me to this, I believe. You know, right. my service in the military, and now I'm doing something I'm extremely passionate about, and I think it's probably one of the most crucial things I've done in my life, next to having a family.
You said that it was getting to you. What was happening was getting to you. Were there a specific incident that happened that got to you? Is there something that said to you, I got to do more, or I can do more?
Well, we have, the most recent ones. We had Vegas. We had the church shooting. I think it's cumulative, really. When you're seeing these events, they're all different to a certain extent, but there were some similarities. What really prompted it was some discussions I've been having with people lately. They come on, they're like, hey, oh my God, isn't that terrible what happened? Oh, I wish, why didn't they just do X, Y, and Z?
Right.
And you wind up in this discussion saying, well, that doesn't work. You can't do that. And so I'm realizing that people that I know that are close to me have no idea what to do. And that's kind of when the light bulb went on and said, I need to do something about this. These are people I care about. If they were gone and I had an opportunity to show them something, it would break my heart.
So quickly, you said people have been saying, I wish X, Y, and Z happened, and you said, well, you can't do that. What's the most common misconception you get about an active shooter situation that someone thinks is going to work but just is not possible?
Hide is the biggest thing, or play dead. And that's really what blew my mind. These shooters don't care if you're playing dead. They don't even care if you are dead. They're going to put bullets into you regardless, because that's what they went there for that day. So the notion that if you were to play possum, that might in some way save your life, absolutely false. And the notion that hiding under a desk or behind a door might save your life, though possible, the likelihood is also not very high.
So hiding is not good.
It's great, but you have to know how.
You have to know how.
You have to know how, and you have to understand that they're looking for you. So if you're gonna, I rarely use the word hide. I think in the industry, for the most part, we make sure we use the word barricade, and then we teach how to do that and what is a valid barricade and what is not.
Some of the situations that have happened, if you can go back and look at some of them, like the Newtown shooting, are you able to, as a professional, sit there and say, not, oh, what a bunch of idiots, but, gee, this could have been done, that could have been done, what if that had been in place? Do you think that you could have prevented Newtown, Connecticut?
No.
Okay.
No,
Do you think
I don't.
that something could have made it less severe than what it was? Here we had a kid that was led into the school, came in.
Mitigated, not prevented.
Maybe not prevented, but he came in armed with guns and just wiped out a bunch of kids.
Yeah, there are certainly plenty of debates about, securing buildings.
All right.
In some cases, that's not allowed because of fire codes or whatever.
Right.
What I can tell you that's also been a recent change in this industry has been the way first responders are responding to the event. The average response time, and this is very wide, for police across the country is between 4 and 12 minutes. The average active shooter event is over in less than 5. So that window is minute. And up until just a few years ago, police, not by any fault of their own, by standard operating procedure, would arrive, get their team together and wait to be safe, and then make a safe entry into the building, and slowly and methodically attempt to clear that area and find the bad guy.
By that time, it's over.
It was over. And keep in mind also that for the most part, these shooters, as soon as they know police or someone's in the area that intends to do something about it, they kill themselves.
They're going to end the situation, whether it's suicide or something.
They're cowards. They're going to kill themselves 9 out of 10 times.
So when you go through an active shooter situation, I'm assuming there's a couple options. You have option A, option B, option C. Is that true? Do you have a few options, and once you identify that, then go full force with that option?
Yeah, and understanding that it's going to change. No plan survives first contact is the first thing we say. So know what the options are. Evacuate, barricade, or swarm, or fight, whatever necessary.
Yeah.
Understanding this is kind of my variation on the run, hide, fight, because words have power.
You're right.
So understanding those options, but then you have to have context. So you can't just watch a video online and, okay, it's run, hide, fight. People tend to think that you have to do it in that order. That's not the case. You do whatever makes sense based on what you know. Where is the individual, the sound coming from? Where am I? Where are the exits? When I came into this building today, I walked around. I know you have 3 exits into this building. Front, the right side as you're facing it.
I had no idea.
And in the rear. And you also have a door that leads to your basement.
Right.
Okay. You know these things ahead of time. Know where you are in relation to your entrances and exits, and start to be able to triage the information, and then make your best decision as you go.
Folks, you're listening to the Worcester Magazine Radio Hour. We're joined by Umar Arastia. He is an active National Guardsman. He offers a free active shooter workshop Friday night, 7 to 9 at Shakir's Gym. As part of, and this is your own private service that you offer, close quarters.
Yes, this
correct?
is not affiliated with the National Guard.
Right. So this is your own thing.
Yes, it is, sir.
And we've been talking about active shooter scenarios, and some of the topics that you're going to be discussing tomorrow night. What are the options? Having a plan, reacting under stress,
Absolutely.
scenario training, things of that nature. What are some of the things that folks will learn if they come to this workshop?
Well, we're going to go over those 3 options with a couple insertions in there as well. How to alert the police, how to respond. Let's say you evacuate the area and first responders are on site. How do you go about not getting shot on the way out? How to evacuate somebody if you have the opportunity. How do you move an injured person? And there are levels of intensity to the training and in depth as well. So tomorrow's training or Friday's training is the intro to this. So we're going to gloss over it very quickly so that people have an understanding of at least what the options are, how to move, and we'll do a couple drills. I saved the more serious scenario training for Module 2, which is where we bring out my assistant trainers. We have some training weapons, fake guns, and we bring in the noises and the sounds. And we'll introduce stress
Simulate
to the
stress.
training environment at that point.
Because I was going to say, I think the biggest thing when you talk about performing under stress is you can't simulate what that's going to be like. Until you're in that situation, you'll never fully understand what that's like. But I think the best way in what you're doing, and I think that's important, is simulating somewhat of that stress so you can have that idea of what it's going to be like, how I'm going to feel, and how to calm yourself down in that situation.
It creates a reference point. It's like you said, there's no way of knowing. And I've known many a very well trained person who, in the heat of the moment, under stress, don't do anything that they thought they were going to do. So that's a completely individual thing, and that's why we really can't fault people for the way they respond in any given case. But by availing yourself of training, you can increase your opportunity to respond in a way that you recognize. It's a reference point. You freeze up for a second. Oh, what do I do? Run. Doesn't matter if it's the right answer just at that moment. Run anyway. And if that goes badly, barricade yourself someplace. Right. And if you run into the bad guy, smash him with a chair.
The worst thing to do is, so you're saying the worst thing is just stand there.
The worst thing to do is nothing.
Well, panic can sometimes lead to doing nothing, can it not?
Absolutely. We use, again, the police, law enforcement, everybody in the industry uses what's called the Cooper Color Code to kind of as a frame of reference to this. And what we call that is going black. You know, there's progressions of preparedness from white, yellow, orange, red, and then black. If you're operating in the yellow or orange level, it means you're operating in a sense of awareness. No one can maintain that, but you're relatively paying attention to what's going on around you. If you're red, that means you're in the middle of an engagement. Something bad is happening. And what we're talking about now is that people lock up. They have that mental freeze. And those are people that are very likely going to get themselves killed, or you.
Okay. And
so what can you do about that?
Yeah.
So here's the thing, and it almost sounds callous. Unless you know that you can keep yourself safe and or the people around you safe, you cannot lose your life trying to snap somebody out of a black mode. You know, you do what you can, but you got to move.
That would seem to run antithetical to what we would be as a person. I got to help that person next to me.
Right, and we think that, and it's very easy to look at people in these scenarios who just evacuate and start judging. You have to understand that their life is just as precious as that individual that might be frozen or laying down hurt. And even on the battlefield, you know, police and first responders are trained not to help someone who's hurt. The job is to deal with whatever that threat is immediately. If the threat is to your life, do what you can, but you got to move out, make a decision.
I want you to maybe go over, I think there's more statistics, but some of these, a total of 60% of active shooter incidents ended before police arrived. This is according to a 2014 FBI report.
Correct.
69% of incidents lasted 5 minutes or less. 36% ended within 2 minutes or less. That's quite alarming when you talk about what the average police response time was. It would seem that you've got no chance, of having. It's changed a lot. I know that. I know that the procedures are changing. Can I survive an active shooter scenario, though? If I can go into a workshop like this, elevate my chances of
absolutely
surviving?
Absolutely, you can. By knowing the options and getting some training, it helps. Now, let's look at Virginia Tech.
Yeah.
A lot of young people died in that attack. Okay, one classroom that barricaded themselves very securely. Out of all, I think there was 20 some odd students in that classroom. They evacuated out of a second-story window. The last person to attempt to evacuate was a professor, and that's when the barricade failed and the professor was killed.
Yeah.
Now, when you compare that to other rooms in that very same hallway, a large number of those classrooms where their students did not barricade themselves, where they simply hid and thought someone would come, there were a lot of deaths, and those were the rooms that it came from. You can survive.
So understanding that every scenario is different. Is there a basic protocol? I mean, could you walk us down the steps like, A, B, C, run, barricade, this? Are there basic steps that you would do, or is it all dependent on
It depends. It's very situational.
Yeah.
Because where you are and where the threat is at the time dictates that.
Yeah.
And that's tough because that requires intuition and understanding. And some people are like, I just want a manual. Give me A, B, C, D. How do you fix this? But in this situation, there's no real manual. You can give tools, but you then have to apply those.
Right. Because when you set yourself up in a regimented way, and here's how I'm going to react, and here's the sequence in which I'm going to think about things, when things don't go that way, that's when you have that mental freeze. Oh, crap, this isn't what I expected. Now what?
Adapt.
Right, but that has to be trained.
Yeah.
Not everyone has that ability to simply, all right, that didn't work.
Sorry, could you train someone who does have that mental freeze over course of a couple sessions to adapt and react and get out of that?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. It
So
happens
that's a learned skill.
It happens to law enforcement and military all the time. We train it into you, the ability to think and move and make decisions on the fly. You know,
Umar,
close quarters countermeasures, that's what we do.
I really appreciate you coming in. Friday night, are there still openings for the workshop?
There are openings for the workshop. We're going to have, my intent is to attempt to have one of these free workshops every month.
All right.
Until someone tells me I can't, or until something else happens in which I can't.
All right.
These free intro workshops are going to be open to everyone. I've got about 10 slots open in this Friday class.
How do they sign up?
Go to closequarterscountermeasures.com.
Closequarterscountermeasures.com. Got it.
Right. They can go ahead and send a message to me to secure a seat that way.
Can they donate if they want to?
Absolutely. I'm looking for donations. Again, this is nonprofit. So through PayPal at umar@closequarters.com.
All right.
Closequarterscountermeasures.com. If they donate any amount, I don't have one of those recommended donations.
Right. Just a donation, $25.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't worry.
That's a fee, right?
Right.
No,
I always exact. Thank you. And whenever I see these programs where they say, it's free, Rick, suggest a donation though. Well, then it's a fee. That's a fee.
Exactly.
They're charging a fee. Just say it.
Really, all I want is to be able to say, I know Joe Smith is coming. Yep. He sent me $5.
Okay.
But
they can come for free.
Absolutely.
And this was a module 1. You have other levels that I'm guessing you charge.
Absolutely.
Okay, sure.
Module 2 is more involved. I bring my training partner in, Jim Girardi. He deployed with me. He helps out, and that's where we start to insert the stress training. So that's by contract or by rate. But the intro class will always be free.
All right. Umar Arastia, Close Quarters Countermeasures. That's his private effort that he does. He's also a National Guardsman. Thank you very much for that. Free active shooter workshop, Friday night, December 8th, 7 to 9 p.m. at your Gears Gym on Main Street in Cherry Valley. You can go there for free. You got to sign up. And I want to thank you very much for the time. This was enlightening. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate being here, really.
All righty. This is the Worcester Magazine Radio Hour. There's still more to come. And all that. I want to talk about something exciting. I want to talk about something that's actually very topical and sadly quite necessary. So we welcome into the studio right now Umar Arastia.
Yes, sir.
Umar, did I say it right?
You did.
Excellent.
You did. Great job.
Thank you. I'm very glad about that because it looks like this guy knows how to defend himself.
Yeah, I was going to say you brought someone in here who could kick my butt. I don't get
that's
it.
Right. That's right. You are with you have something that you offer called Close Quarters Countermeasures.
That is my consulting firm, yes.
That's your consulting firm, but you're also active duty National Guard.
I am.
First of all, so thank you. Do you like when people, some veterans say, don't thank me for my service. Just,
no, I'm not partial to one or the other.
All
I think if people are going to express their thanks in some way, I'm not going to tell them how to do it. I appreciate it regardless.
All right, there you go. All right. Well, thank you for your service, and I mean that.
Don't say that, ever.
I've heard the same sentiment, by the way, from other service members. Basically, we appreciate the thanks.
Right. Umar has a free active shooter workshop that he's going to be offering Friday night, December 8th. It's going to be at his Gears Gym. Now, if you drive up Route 9 heading, west, you've driven by this a million times. I know I have. My youngest